Hi everyone! Today I'm going to be reviewing my new Smokey palette from Coastal Scents, and this is an eyeshadow palette which has all the shades you need to create any type of smoky eye. So in addition to reviewing the palette, I'm also going to use it to show you how to achieve this blue smoky eyes look. So if you want to know more about the palette and also how to get this look, then keep watching. So as usual, I'm just going to first briefly talk about how I came across this product. And as most of you guys know, I personally love the eyeshadow palettes from Coastal Scents because I think they are a high quality with an affordable price. And before getting the Smokey palette, I already had 5 of their eyeshadow palettes. So I had the original palette, or what I call the matte palette, the Ultra Shimmer palette, the Warm palette, the Metal Mania palette, and the Creative Me #1. So for my 3,000 subscribers giveaway, one of the prizes was that the winner gets to choose one of my top 3 favorite products as a prize. So the winner ended up choosing the Coastal Scents 88 Warm palette. So when I went on to coastalscents.com to purchase it, I also noticed that they released a few new eyeshadow palettes, which always makes me really excited. So there was the new Prism palette, the Smokey palette, and also the Mirage palette, which unfortunately was out of stock at that time. And being the makeup junkie that I am, I could not resist getting something for myself as well. But I couldn't decide between the 88 Prism palette and the Smokey palette. So I put up photos of both palettes on my Facebook page and asked my subbies to help me choose. And the overwhelming response was to go for the Smokey palette because I think a lot of people like doing smoky eyes, and also when I thought about it, there was probably not much point in me getting the Prism palette because it's pretty similar to my 88 original palette. So that's how I ended up getting the Smokey palette, and I'm just going to go on to review it for you guys. So this is what the Smokey palette looks like. So it's square in shape, and I believe it's the only Coastal Scents palette to have this design. And I have to say I quite like it because it is small, which makes it great to take for traveling. But as you can see inside, the eyeshadow pots themselves aren't too small. They're about the size of an Australian 10-cent coin. And I also like how each of the eyeshadow shades sits quite firmly in the palette because I have found that the eyeshadow pots from the 88 palettes can be really loose and they can fall out of the holes really easily, which can cause them to break, and sadly I have broken a few that way. And I would have liked it if the palette came with a mirror on the top, even though I don't use those mirrors much. I don't know, I just feel a little jip because all the other palettes come with a mirror. And also I wish it also came with the 2 spongy applicators like the 88 palettes. Although I know a lot of people don't tend to use those applicators, I do find them to be quite useful, especially for highlighting the inner corners of the eyes. Now onto the eyeshadow shades themselves. So altogether there is a total of 36 shades, and they come in a variety of finishes. And I do think that the color combination in this palette is absolutely beautiful. But if you heard the name Smokey palette, I think in your head you will imagine the colors to be less colorful and less vibrant than the shades in this palette. But I guess, you know, smoky eyes, you can have very colorful smoky eyes as well. But unfortunately, I can't say that all the shades in this palette are very pigmented because I did find quite a few that were very chalky and difficult to pick up. But I'll talk more about that when I go through the colors and do the swatches for you. But what is interesting and special about this palette is that it's actually grouped into 6 individual color spectrums with 6 complementary shades in each spectrum. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And next I'm just going to go through each of the 6 color spectrums for you guys and also swatch some of my favorite shades from each. But I will be putting photos of the full swatches on my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/MissPixieLulu, so don't forget to check it out. So the first spectrum is made for brown smoky eyes, and I think they're the perfect color combination to wear for autumn and winter because the colors are very warm. So one of my favorite shades from this color spectrum is first of all this shimmery peach color with gold undertones, and I've swatched it on my arm for you. So it's this first one here. And I also really like this metallic brown color, and it's this one here. But on the downside, these 2 shades here, I can hardly pick up with my fingers, which is a bit disappointing. For example, this beige color, look at it, it's so chalky. And also this orange, it looks so vibrant on the palette, which is why I'm really disappointed at its lack of pigmentation. And the second color spectrum is made for green smoky eyes, and I think they're a great combination to wear for spring. So these two forest greens here have a matte finish and they're very pigmented. But for some reason, I'm not a huge fan of matte green eyeshadow, probably because they're just so green and therefore like quite hard to pull off. And my favorite two shades from this color spectrum would have to be these two shimmery greens here. So the top one is the light green, which is this one right here. And the second is the darker shimmery green, which I swatched for you guys right here. And both of these greens have gold undertones, which makes them absolutely beautiful. And I don't know if I ever told you guys, but green is actually my favorite color. And in this spectrum, the let down shade is actually this lemon yellow, which is once again really chalky. And also this shade might look like it's black, but it's actually a really dark matte brown. And the third spectrum is made for purple smoky eyes, and I believe that purple is one of the best colors to use for smoky eyes because I think purple is a universally flattering color. So the majority of the purple shades from this spectrum have a matte finish, and one of my favorite shades would have to be this matte dark purple right here, and I've swatched it on my arm. So it's just a beautiful deep purple color. And I also like this sort of metallic bronzy purple shade, and this is the swatch. And unfortunately the rest of the shades aren't that pigmented from the spectrum, which is a bit of a letdown. And the fourth color spectrum is made for silver / grey smoky eyes, and that's the color combination which sort of pops into my head when I think about smoky eyes. Now you can achieve some classic dark smoky eyes with these shades, which will make for a perfect evening look. And I do quite like all of these metallic silver grey shades, and most of them are quite pigmented as well. One of my favorite shades from this spectrum would have to be this shimmery silver, and I've swatched that right here for you. And I also really like this gunmetal grey shade here, and the swatch is this one. And the fifth color spectrum is made for blue smoky eyes, but blue eyeshadow can really be a hit or miss for some people. This is probably the only spectrum where all 6 colors are quite pigmented, and I have to say one of my favorite shades from this spectrum is this bluish grey color here, which is laced with gold undertones. So I'll show you the swatch. I think it's a really gorgeous color. And I also really like this matte royal blue shade, and the swatch is here. I think the color is really intense for this one. So the 6th and last color spectrum is made for pink smoky eyes, which can be really playful, flirty and sexy. And one of my favorite shades from this spectrum is this shimmery baby pink color, and the swatch is right here, and I think it's a really nice color to use for highlighting. And I also really like this sort of matte plummy pink shade, and that's the last one on my arm. Also, this matte black shade actually has some pink glitter through it, which makes it really interesting and different. And unfortunately, these 3 matte pink shades are not very pigmented. And now that I've gone through all 6 of the color spectrums with you guys, I'm just going to go on to do a mini tutorial and show you how to achieve these blue smoky eyes, using of course the 5th spectrum, which is the blue shades. So I've already prepped my face using foundation, concealer and powder, and I've also defined my eyebrows and applied some eyeshadow primer to my lids as well. And as you guys can see, I'm also wearing a pair of grey circle lenses today because I think it goes quite nicely with this blue smoky eyes look, but of course you don't have to wear circle lenses. And anyway, I'll be putting the full product listing in the video description below for you guys. So starting off, take the metallic grey shade right here, and using a spongy applicator, apply that to the inner corners of the eyes as a highlight. And next, taking the baby blue shade right here and using an angled blending brush, we're going to pop that all over the lid as a base colour. Next, taking one of the medium blue shades, so I'm going to use this one right here, and then taking just a blending brush, we're going to put that colour on the outer corner of our eyes and blend it into the crease. And next, taking the navy blue shade and also using a blending brush, apply that colour to the outer V, making sure you blend it well into the medium blue, and also drag the colour down to the bottom waterline. Now taking the medium blue again and using a flat shading brush right here, just use that to line the middle of the bottom waterline. So now that we're all done with applying the eyeshadow, I'm just going to go and finish off the rest of my look. Ta-da! So this is my completed blue smoky eyes look right here, and I have to say some of the blue eyeshadows that I used were a little bit too intense, so what I did was I just used a cotton pad and just softened the colour around the edges. And I lined my eyes with a black gel liner and applied some false eyelashes to my top lashes and some mascara to my bottom lashes. And for my cheeks, I kept it quite soft with a smoky pink blush, and also popped some highlight on the tops of my cheeks. And to finish off the look, I just used a nude colour lipstick. Now, just because there are 6 colours in each spectrum, it doesn't mean you have to use all 6 colours on your eyes. As you can see, I only used 4 of the colours from the blue spectrum, and also you don't have to stick to just the colours from each spectrum. You can mix and match as well. And if you're feeling bold, you can even pair opposite colours together, which is what a lot of people do when they use a cut crease technique to apply their eyeshadow. So as you can see, there is a countless combination of looks you can achieve with this one palette. So overall, I do have to say that I have mixed feelings about this palette, because while I do love the color combinations, at the same time I am rather disappointed in the pigmentation of a lot of the shades. So I guess this palette in the end didn't really wow me. But having said that, some of these shades are absolutely gorgeous, so I'll definitely still use this palette. And I also think that this will be a handy palette for girls who really love doing smoky eyes, but are maybe a little bit unsure which shades complement each other, so the 6 color spectrums will really serve as a guide for them. So this palette is listed as $22.95 US on the Coastal Scents website, and I'll put a direct link to it right below in the video description for you guys. So I can say that this is quite an affordable palette, but it also depends on where you live, because I hear that shipping to some certain countries can work out to be really expensive. So I hope you guys found this review to be helpful, and also I hope you enjoyed the mini tutorial on this blue smoky eyes look. And you guys know that I love hearing from you, so feel free to leave me questions and comments in this video or on my Facebook page, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye!